I promise to add on when we have further details, and we do have 10 things to share with you on the Hummer EVs, and it is everything you need to know about the London and the change game about to happen. Do not click away if you really want to know this right, okay? In this episode of the EV series, we'll look at 10 things and we'll number it as we go along to stay organized. 1, we'll look at the Hummer EV SUV Edition 1. 2, we'll look at price and trim for both vehicles. 3, we'll look at the charge port and why it is placed where it's placed. Fourthly, we'll look at similarities between the two vehicles. And then fifthly, we'll look at Hummer SUV, which is a bit smaller and comes with less power and range. And then on the 6th point, we'll look at Hummer capabilities. The 7th, 8th, and 9th through to 10th points will have to do with modes, the cabin, the Hummer X embedded, and then Factory Zero dedicated to this. And so if you really are new to the channel and you enjoy content like this, kindly slap a thumbs up and subscribe with the notification bell on for more content like this. And we truly and really are humbled and deeply appreciate your passing through. Thank you so much, and let's get down to business. The reason why we are here. General Motors actually completes one of the stranger resurrections of a seemingly dead name on record with the 2024 GMC Hummer EV SUV that will bookend the 2022 GMC Hummer EV electric pickup truck in the GMC lineup. With this SUV, GM is full circle on its Hummer revival, and it is the body style most people associate with the Hummer name. Of course, they also associate Hummer with its military Humvee origins and the general civilian models that started with the Hummer in 1992. GM actually bought the brand name in 1999, I hope some of you remember, and created a family of guzzling behemoths topped by the massive Hummer H1 and expanded it to include the smaller Hummer 2 as H2 and H3. In the wake of its bankruptcy, GM actually discontinued the production of the brand in 2010, and under the new CEOship of Maribara, GM is betting its future on electric vehicles. Then news broke that GM's full full-size electric pickup would revive the Hummer name and be sold under the GMC brand, ears pegged, and anticipations were heightened. The GMC Hummer electric pickup truck will actually go on sale first, and it will hit dealership later this year because electric pickups are all the rage right now, with Rivian beginning production in June of the 2021 Rivian 1RT electric pickup, followed by the R1S SUV in time, and Ford is also preparing to offer an electric F-150 in 2022. So the 2024 GMC Hummer EV SUV won't be on sale until 2023, but the pickup is right in time to compete with the known brands that we have already mentioned. 2021 GMC Hummer EV SUV Edition 1. Like the pickup, the first Hummer EV SUVs off the line are limited run of special editions, appropriately called Edition 1. The run is not unlimited, but GM is not sharing what the ceiling is. So then the Edition 1 is simply a top trim, fully loaded, pricey, and only available in one color at launch. In the case of the pickup, it is white with black paint above the belt line. For the SUV, the launch color is the moonshot green matte with a black upper that will become Hummer design signature. Subsequent trim levels will offer a full color palette. The crystal light across the front end says Hummer, and the H graphics liberally sprinkled around the vehicle, including the design of the tail lights. And the somewhat exclusive 2024 GMC Hummer EV SUV Edition 1 starts off at $105,595 for the on-road edition with 22-inch premium wheel, floor liners, axle steps, and special badging. Then you move on to the extreme off-road package with a boost that costs as much as $5,000 more. The 18-inch wheels come with 35-inch tires, but you can order massive 37 inches from the dealership if you so want. The SUV is bolstered with underbody armor, rock sliders, a front e-locker, and virtual rear lockers, as well as heavy-duty half shafts. Underbody cameras grab a view of the rail even when airborne or you climber up a steep hill. While the off-road package doesn't include more power, the extra weight and rolling resistance of the beefier tires reduces the driving range to 280 miles. Of the note, the off-road equipment in this package is standard equipment on the Edition1 pickup, which helps explain why the special edition of the truck starts at $112,595. So let's turn our attention to price and trim, which is very important to all of us for the 2024 GMC HUMMER EV SUV and the pickup truck. Now, buyers who want the full power of the 3 electric motors but at less cost can wait for the trim level in spring of 2023 with a starting price of $99,995. The price tag drops by $10,000 for the 2-motor 625 horsepower GMC HUMMER EV 2X, and also due in spring 2023. The longest wait, is actually for the base 2-motor HUMMER EV 2, which won't arrive until the spring of 2024, same time frame as the base EV2 pickup, and the price drops another $10,000 to $79,995. Range falls to 250 miles on a single charge with the EV2, but the power is the same as in the 2X. And the base SUV uses 400 volt fast charging, while the rest of the lineup actually uses the mega 800 volts one. Just take note, upgrading to 800 volts capability is actually an option on the 400 volt one. Where is the charging port on this EV? I'm going to show you. But the engineers figure it out that most big pickups and SUV owners back into parking spots. Okay, so the charge port is on the rear quarter panel of the driver's side to make it easier to reach the cord at public charging stations. A bi-directional charger, which is very important, is available, and so the bi-directional charger allows power to flow in and out, which means it can be used to power accessories or charge another electric vehicle. A very clever, useful tech, which is also in some other EVs like the Kia EV6 that's just launched. Okay, there is no mistaking the kinship between the Hummer pickup and then the SUV. Both were designed to catch eyeballs in the city driving and silently conquer off-road trails. Now, are these cars the same? The SUV and the pickup are the same from the C-Pillar 4, sharing the same 5-passenger layout and the ability to remove the sky panels of the infinity roof and drop the rear glass to create a convertible. Behind the main cabin, consumers have the choice of a truck bed or enclosed cargo room. Cargo space is about 81 cubic feet in the back, with the second row seat folded down about 36 cubic feet with the seats up. Okay, now they both have an adaptive air suspension, 4-wheel steering and 4-wheel drive with torque vectoring on the rear axle of the 3-motor variants. The Hummers feature Crabwalk and extract mode to get out of trouble on the trail and can lunge with ferocity in watts to freedom mode on a stretch of pavement. The Hummers both offer one-pedal driving. By backing off the accelerator pedal, the vehicle will slow to a stop using the electric motor's resistance, and the driver can use the steering wheel paddle to increase the force of regenerative braking system. Okay, so that is about the similarities in both vehicles. Let's take a look at the effect of the smaller SUV. We have established that the SUV is a little bit shorter. Okay, there are a few key differences because the SUV is a bit smaller in the sense that it comes in at 126.7 inches wheelbase, which is 8.9 inches shorter than the truck. There is less room for battery pack. 4 fewer models mean less range on a single charge. The SUV, using GM's Ultium electric vehicle platform and battery system, can run an estimated 300 miles, while the pickup truck can go 350 miles on the top trims. Now, the figures refer to the top trims with 3 electric motors. 2 power the rear axle and a third sends it to the front. The base Hummer EV2 with only 2 motors, and the removal of the 4 more models in the battery pack has range. There is also a difference in output. The pickup claims more than 1,000 horsepower and hurdles itself from 0 to 60 in 3.0 seconds. That is bonkers fast for the size. The SUVs with a smaller battery pack operates at slightly lower voltage, which drops output to 830 horsepower, and thus the sprint to 60 miles lengthens to 3.5 seconds. The 625 horsepower Hummer EV2X and then the EV2 model stretch the 0 to 60 mph time to 4 seconds. The torque computations is a bit trickier to explain, but GM lists peak torque output at 11,500 to 12,500 pound-feet of torque. But Motor Trend technical editor Frank Marcus throws both of those figures out of the window because the way it measures torque at the wheel is an unconventional approach. Motor Trend actually puts the Hummer's twist at close to 1,045 pound-feet of torque at the motors, and that figure holds for both the truck and then the SUV. What are the capabilities of these two vehicles? The Hummer is a big vehicle, but designers have given it proportions to make it more maneuverable, and the SUV's shorter wheelbase and overall length help with breakover and departure angles of 34.4 and 45.6 degrees with a spare tire. Like the pickup, the SUV has approximately 13 inches of suspension travel front and rear. They both have the adaptive air suspension, and the adaptive air suspension makes it possible to add extract mode that lifts the vehicle's suspension height by about 6 inches, so the SUV can clear boulders and other hazards. The Hummer EV boasts of a vertical wall climb of more than 18 inches and can cross up to 32 inches of water. Okay, 4-wheel steering is standard on all, but the base model gives the Hummer a 35.4-foot turning circle, equal to that of the compact Chevrolet Bolt EV. It allows the front and rear wheels to turn in unison up to 10 degrees at low speeds. A maneuver known as the Crabwalk. GM engineered it to help Hummer drivers scuttle out of tight and tricky parts of trail, but they are also looking at it in urban applications for parking and getting out around garbage trucks. There are plenty of modes and a WTF experience, so I'm going to go through that with you. And in addition to the extract mode, there is also the terrain, the tow, off-road, and tow hauling mode settings. The additional adrenaline sub-mode, otherwise known as launch control, includes a theatrical watch to freedom experience. It primes the driver and the passengers to take off as the suspension lowers and the powertrain and battery pack are prepared. The seats vibrate and the screens are taken over by a special graphics. Once the signal is given that the truck is ready and armed, the driver loads the accelerator pedal, dumps the brake pad, and booyah, blast off. Okay, the Hummer SUV will also be equipped with GM's enhanced Super Cruise hands-free driver assistance system that can make lane changes and manage speed and steering inputs on pre-mapped freeways, which is an interesting one to have when you are on a countryside road. Okay, on the back of the SUV is a full-size spare tire with cameras in the tire mount. Removing the tire boosts the Hummer's departure angle to 49 degrees. The power opening swing gate is hinged on the right, so the driver in a tight spot can walk along the assist steps or rock crawlers and open the gate to access the back without having to walk all the way around the vehicle in a narrow trail. The gate opening is a full 48 inches wide to get a piece of plywood in there easily. And to the roof, the 4 removable roof panels fit into the trunk in a set of standard vinyl storage bags. The trunk front also has a power hood, and you can set the maximum height to avoid hitting the ceiling of your garage. Let's go into the vehicle and have a look at the interior and have a practical discussion when it comes to the cabin of the Hummer EVs. Okay, so let's go into it. Right now, the Edition 1 comes with a dark interior known as Lunar Shadow to thematically match the green exterior color. The fox leather on the seats and steering wheel are deliberate to promote sustainability and avoid the use of animal hides. Now the 13.3-inch digital gauge cluster and an even bigger 13.4-inch dash-mounted touchscreen infotainment display with 3 partitions of customizable information. The navigation system helps drivers locate charging stations and can get them to the trail through the trail and back home again seamlessly. The designers did not want to fake any buttons or blanks in the center stack. So go back, have a look at the center stacks, and instead of buttons that say aux, tiny screens allow owners to identify the functions of each button by choosing labels from a library of function icons like Sasquatch. And more than 200 Hummer EV accessories will be available at launch. That is great to hear and know. Okay, at launch is very important. Now to the Easter eggs that bedded. Okay, so the Hummer Easter eggs galore. There is an additional space-themed Easter eggs dots throughout Hummer EV Edition 1's cabin. The floor of the cargo area is grained to look like a topographical map of the surface of the moon in the Sea of Tranquility area where Neil Armstrong touched down. The design is also etched into the speaker grills along with the boot print, signifying Neil Armstrong's first step on the moon surface. The UX experience also has a lunar theme. There's a thumbs up where the assist steps attached to the rocker panel. And finally, lastly but not the least, the production of the Hummer EVs. The Hummer EVs will all be built at GM's retooled Detroit Hamtramck plant, renamed Factory Zero. It is GM's first plant dedicated to making only electric vehicles. They're ready for the future. Executives hope that the Hummer name EVs, as GM built a portfolio of electric vehicles of all shapes and sizes for all GM brands. The Hummer SUV made its public debut during the NCAA Final Four, and reservations are being taken at gmc.com electric/Hummer EV-EV. So if you're interested, be quick. Okay, as I understand, this is going to sell big time. Okay, right. These are the areas that we'll highlight for now until we test drive it later. AutoStop will add on again if the need be when the vehicle becomes more accessible to auto journalists and the general public. Thank you so much. Click on my left top corner for the review of the 2022 Nissan Patrol Nismo on the left top corner of my screen, and the left bottom of my screen is the 2022 Kia EV, another interesting electric vehicle that came into being. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great time until we meet again, same time. Bye bye.